Craig and Sandra, it is always good to see you guys. Well, it's nice to meet Craig. You've been hiding this guy from me, you know, but it's always good to see you. But Bethany Christian Services, you guys are dealing with adoption, right?
We're dealing with adoption, but we're dealing with more than adoption. We're dealing with adoption and orphan care, and just
orphan care. I didn't think there were any orphans in the United States.
Well, any child who needs a family and needs to be protected and be in a safe place and be nurtured is considered an orphan. So children in foster care and
it's hot and
you know,
fresh,
older
just
kids.
the way you like it. You know what I love about working here, besides getting paid? It's listening to all the musicians who come in. I never get tired of it. Bet you never pay any attention though. Mr. Wiley? You have cotton in your ears?
Of course I do. I heard there's gonna be music tonight, and I came prepared. And by the way, don't touch me. I don't like to be touched.
Sorry. Sheesh.
Oh, I got it. Yeah, those look heavy. Yeah, is this why we're almost a half hour late?
Well, it is. I'm sorry, but I lost track of time.
Okay, we're not helping Joe, are we?
Oh, no, of course not. I'm helping Joe. This is for Marcus's Magical Christmas. Yeah.
Okay, I bite. What is that?
To the men and women of the United States Armed Forces, the USO delivers the joys and comforts of home, even out here. Find out how you can help at USO.org. The USO, until everyone comes home.
Oh no, it's bad! Shut the door! Shut the door! Not again! It's too big to stop! I can't keep it out! More rain! I can't stop weeping! My friend down the street got drained, braced, and waterproofed from J&D Waterproofing. He has a whole new lease on life.
Basement water problems? Don't cry. Call 1-800-VERY-DRY.
Oh, that can't be good.
Call J&D Waterproofing.
Ladies and gentlemen, here's Joe Feick.
Ready for the winds to change. I'm ready for a brighter day. Ready for the sun to shine down on me. I'm waiting for a song to sing. I'm looking for a brand new thing. I'm ready now to live a life that I believe. I want the world to turn because of love and mercy to find each of us doing what we can to just believe. I want the world to know that you're the one who fills me up and gives me hope and brings about this change that's in me. Oh yeah, I'm ready. Yeah, you know I'm ready. set us free. Does anybody still believe we'll make it through? I'm ready now to take a stand, to live for more than myself. Tell me now, my friend, are you ready to? I want the world to turn because of love and mercy to find each of us doing what we can to just believe. I want the world to know that you're the one who fills me up and gives me hope and brings about this change that's in me. Oh yeah, I'm ready. Yeah, no, I'm ready now. I can't sit around waiting for it all to change. It's gonna take every single one of us doing what we can. There's lots of fighting in this world, there's so much loving too. So take my hand, I'm ready now for you. I want the world to turn because of love and mercy to find each of us doing what we can to just believe. I want the world to know that you're the one who fills me up and gives me hope, brings about this change that's in me. Oh yeah, I'm ready. Yeah, no, I'm ready now. Lord knows I'm ready. Yeah, no, I'm ready now. I'm ready for the winds to change. I'm ready for a brighter day.
He's done playing, Mr. Wiley. You can take out your earplugs now.
You don't have to shout, I don't have them in. I wanted to hear what the gentleman sounds like.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. What did you think of him?
Has he been on that YouTube thing that Marcus is always talking about?
I'm not sure. I don't think so.
Well, he should be. You know what else should be?
No.
My cup should be filled with some coffee. Get back to me on that. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Wiley.
I thought you guys just strictly dealt with adoption, but I guess there's so many more things that have got to be taken care of. There's so many ways that kids can be helped and that people can be helped that want to have families today that I've never even thought about.
Yes, there's actually a new initiative that's happening here in Pittsburgh, and it's actually sweeping across the U.S., and it's called Safe Families for Children. And there are children that go into foster care that don't really need to be there, and so they're there unnecessarily. And if you think about a child whose parents might be ill and they don't have any family, and when you're in crisis, that you rely on your family to help, or your friends. And there are several people in this, in our communities that don't have anybody. And so Safe Families for Children is to voluntarily be a host family for a child who just needs somewhere to go for a short period of time.
So it's not like a foster care system where kids are moved from one place to another. We know there's a crisis. This is a short-term situation, and we can help out.
Right. And we know that they're going back to their birth families, and in the end. And so it's just reaching out and as Christians and developing a community safety net for kids to just surround and really practice biblical hospitality to a family in crisis.
Now, how do families, if there's families in my church or families of friends that come here into the cafe that, they're saying, you know what, this would be something, because I've never heard of this before. It's a great program. It's why didn't somebody think of this before? How do they get involved? They go to your website? Do they have to go through the same scrutiny that an adoptive family would go through? Or
they can come to our website, and it's at www.bethany.org, and click on our Safe Families link, and then it's voluntary. It's voluntary, so they can call our office, but families can just be involved merely by going through what we call a family profile. It's not a home study, it's not adoption, it's not foster care, but it's totally voluntary for people to step up and say, we want to help a child.
Is
in
there a
crisis.
cost involved for a family to do that, or?
There are no costs involved, and that churches and businesses and foundations are surrounding and getting behind this initiative to say, we want to be a part of, helping to build that community safety net.
What a cool thing. What a very cool thing. I heard there's something almost sci-fi that I heard that you guys are involved in. It's something about embryonic adoption or something like that. I mean, that sounds like way out there. I mean, that's like, reading in some sci-fi novel or something.
Yes, we have an embryo adoption program as one of our 4 adoption programs at Bethany, and it's for, we work with the National Embryo Donation Center out of Knoxville, Tennessee, and so when families were going through fertility treatments, there are leftover frozen embryos that they did not want to throw away because they really believed that it was a life, and so it's a group of Christian doctors who contacted Bethany and asking for Christian families to come forward and adopt.
Very cool. Very cool. It's one thing, as Christians, we protest so many things and people know what we're against, but this is one of those things. It's like, listen, okay, we got a problem here. Here's the solution. We don't want to destroy these embryos. These are children waiting to be born. Right. And what people adopt them, and then one is placed in a woman's uterus?
They're implanted, they're transferred into the adoptive mom's womb, and so then, and it's a great alternative to as a way of having a family that child is actually, the adoptive mom actually gives birth to that child, and so that becomes their child by birth.
Now, I know there's a lot of children that are available for adoption overseas. Are you doing both still, overseas adoption and U.S. adoptions?
We're doing adoptions for all age children and all colors of skin. And so we work internationally, we work in Latin America, Asia, Eastern Europe, and Africa. Wow. So right now we have over 12 international programs going. Our hottest program is probably Ethiopia. It's the fastest. It's the fastest growing. And when I say fastest, it doesn't mean that they're coming home tomorrow, but.
Right. Well, it's quick as in adoption world.
In the adoption world, it's quicker.
There are so many children around the world that I know are looking for some safe place, but it seems like there are countries that open up for a season and you can adopt. Like Russia was real hot for a number of years, and now it doesn't seem to be, as open door. But Ethiopia is the
I think
country.
Our African countries are probably the hot spot right now, and we've moved around the world, and Ethiopia is probably the hottest place to adopt from at the moment.
Now, you have a real passion.
What's with this thing, Marcus's Magical Christmas?
Well, it's toys for kids who wouldn't really get any toys for Christmas.
You're kidding. Forgive me, I just never thought of Chef as the philanthropic type.
Why not? I care about people.
Okay, there's no reason to get upset. I'm just, no offense, Marcus, you're somewhat self-involved. So I know that about you, and then all of a sudden you're helping kids. How does that happen?
Okay, all right. If you must know,
okay.
Mr. Wiley put me up to it.
Mr. Wiley?
Yeah.
Mr. Wiley doesn't say more than 2 words, well, except for more coffee.
Well, yeah, that's what you think, but he actually has a lot to say.
Really?
Yeah.
Do tell.
Well, last week I was upset about something, and he told me instead of venting to focus on something more important that would be more meaningful and worthwhile.
That's good advice.
Yeah. I mean, he's been around for a long time, so I figured, he knows a little something.
Yeah, true, true. So this is about collecting toys for kids, then?
Yeah, I'm going to collect the toys and redistribute them in my neighborhood for the kids who wouldn't get anything.
That's nice, Marcus. I like that. I hate to think of kids without anything on Christmas. I mean, I'd be heartbroken if my kids didn't get anything from Santa. My gosh,
Wait, well, I knew you were married, but I didn't know you had any kids. How many do you have?
I have 2 children.
Oh, great.
Okay, well,
You should bring him in the cafe sometime. You know, like give some toys. You know.
Yeah, well, let's stop talking about my personal life, okay? Let's keep working so we have a cafe.
His place.
Andy's a young veteran who was injured in Iraq.
What PVA did for Andy was make sure the only thing he had to worry about was rehabbing, getting better.
The PVA helped a lot with, filing all the VA paperwork. If just left to myself, I would make a mess of that paperwork in a second.
I like getting benefits for veterans who didn't know they were entitled to a housing grant or an auto grant.
PVA gives its service officers, gave me the ability to go in there and take care of any problem that young man had. And that's what I did.
I couldn't imagine getting through this without the PVA. I really couldn't.
There was no PVA for paralyzed veterans. I would be one of the many veterans just confused and frustrated.
To support paralyzed veterans, go to pva.org.
My dream is to be a lawyer. My dream is to be a veterinarian. I want to be a chef because I love food. My dream is to be a doctor, a teacher.
My dream is to be
a ballerina, a fireman,
an emergency room physician,
football player, science teacher.
My dream is to become a mechanical engineer,
professional skateboarder.
My dream is to be a nurse,
a shoe designer,
the President of the United States of America.
I have big dreams.
But right now,
I'm just a kid. I'm just a kid. Hey, I'm just a kid. I'm a kid.
Just a kid.
I'm just a kid.
I'm just a kid ready to be adopted.
Ready to be adopted.
I'm just a kid ready to be adopted.
For the facts about adopting a child from foster care, contact the Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption.
A singer once, but I can't carry a tune. But everybody says I look really good holding a guitar. Oh, maybe one day I could stand in with you. Is that what they call it? Stand in? No, not. Sit in. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. Would you mind one day? We could that'd be so much fun.
So sorry about this. Yeah. Sam's gonna be standing in an employment line unless she gets back to work.
Oh, we'll talk later.
Okay. Thanks. There were some states that had real struggles with different race parents and different race, children. Is that pretty open now? Can anybody adopt anybody?
In most cases, it's open. I mean, we have a lot of families here in our greater Pittsburgh area that Caucasian families who have adopted African American children, and especially with we talk about transracial adoption. And so, there's Caucasian families that are adopting kids of a variety of different ethnicities.
How difficult is it to adopt?
I think it's easy. Everybody says it's hard. But if a family is, I always say, how long are you willing to invest? How much are you willing to invest of your time and finances, and being willing to be there and make that commitment to a child. So if you're willing to do that and flexible, it's really easy to adopt.
I would think, and maybe I'm wrong about this, I would think that many families, there are many families that just decide, for whatever reason, from the very beginning, I just want to adopt. But then I'm sure there's a segment of families that have tried to have children in other ways, natural ways, whatever, and they weren't able to, and so they've gone through that struggle. And so compared to that struggle, this would be a short time.
Right. I mean, and we see newborn babies that are being born and not having a family there to to be ready to adopt them. And so that's why I say a lot of it just depends on flexibility and a family's willingness to be there and support a birth mom in her decision to place her child for adoption.
Now, I don't remember your whole story, but I've got in the back of my brain, with all this other stuff that I've got back there, that you were adopted.
Right. I was adopted when I was 5 months old from Seoul, Korea. And I was one of the children that I was left on the sidewalk in Seoul. And I was 4 days old, and then I spent the first 5 months of my life in the orphanage. So before I came to the U.S.
How do you, one of the fears I've heard others say is that, how can I know that, will this child respond to me as their mom and dad? What happens when they grow up? How do you kind of calm those fears of folks to say, listen, you know what, I was adopted, and my parents are my parents. I mean, that's what
I wouldn't
know.
trade anything. I wouldn't trade my parents for anybody in the world. And what I say to families, I mean, there's no guarantees. There's not any guarantee, even with biological children.
Absolutely.
But I just think it's important for parents to love their children unconditionally, and to make that commitment. And when we talk about unconditional love, that's not expecting anything in return. And so, but I know that I always trust the verse, train up your child in the way that they will go, and that they will be there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the most important thing that I think that parents can do. So.
Is that one of the greatest joys that you see a child and parents brought together?
I think that the greatest joy for me is not only that, and seeing families come together through adoption, but seeing the difference in a child. I've seen so many children in institutions or in foster care, and before they were adopted, and then to see that transformation and the difference that adoption makes in a child's life, and knowing that it made the difference in my life.
And I know that many foster care facilities are doing their best, and foster families are doing their best.
Hey, Miss Wiley.
Hey, what was all those boxes you was bringing in? You delivering something for Joe again?
No, why does everybody keep asking me that? No, I'm not helping Joe. I learned my lesson for that. I'm never doing that again. Now, what I am doing is Marcus's Magical Christmas.
What's that?
Well, that's when I collect toys and distribute them to disadvantaged children who might not get a present on Christmas.
Sounds like a worthwhile project.
Oh, yeah, thanks. I'm trying to make a difference. And Mr. Wiley, I really took to heart what you said, and it's because of you that I'm doing this. I don't understand quite why, but your words have a lot of weight with me, and I respect you. So,
Thank you, Marcus. Yeah. That's the nicest thing anyone said to me in a long time.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I mean, I appreciate you sparking that in me. You helped me to refocus myself on something more important, instead of just venting and things like that. The South Asian Army was here recently, and I was listening to what they were saying, and that's why I'm here. So I've been telling everybody I can to try to give gifts, and I'm incorporating in my YouTube channel, and I've just been trying to get the word out as much as I can to have somebody give, kind of start a chain reaction to giving, and it's all because of you.
No, Marcus, it's because of you, son.
So, tapping in orders, I see.
No.
No, what are you doing?
I'm tweeting.
You're kidding.
No, I'm not. I'm tweeting telling everybody about Joe to come see him in the cafe.
Okay, I don't need you to do that. I need you to wait on tables because the cafe is packed.
Okay, hold on.
Now what?
I'm tweeting telling everybody not to come because the cafe is full.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have been just really getting wonderful, wonderful entertainment here tonight and blessing by Joe, and we are just looking forward to what he's going to do. What's your next song, Joe?
It's
Feick.
called King of Glory by Third Day.
Okay, let's give it up for Joe Feick, King of Glory. Woo! Here we go.
This King of Glory, who pursues me with his love and haunts me with each hearing of his softly spoken words. My conscience a reminder of forgiveness that I need. Who is this King of Glory? Who offers it to me? Who is this King of angels? Oh, blessed Prince of Peace, revealing things of heaven and all its mysteries. My spirit's ever longing for His grace in which to stand. Who is this King of glory, Son of God and Son of Man? His name is Jesus, precious Jesus, the King of my heart, the King of glory, the Lord Almighty. Who is this King of glory, with strength and majesty, and wisdom beyond measure, the gracious King of kings, the Lord of earth and heaven, the creator of all things? Who is this King of glory? He's everything to me. His name is Jesus, precious Jesus, the Lord Almighty, the King of my heart, the King of glory. His name is Jesus, precious Jesus, the King of glory, the King of my heart, the Lord Almighty.
So come on in and find a friend to help you on your way. Pull up a chair and find his care. We'll be here every day in his place. Ba-ba-da-da, his place, his place.
Another great show here on His Place, and I thank you for tuning in and for sticking with us. Hey, you can let your friends know around the country if they aren't able to watch us, they can go to hisplace.tv. And I know that you've got plenty of questions about Bethany Christian Services. You can go to www.bethany.org and check that out, find out more about that stuff. On the next program, Amy Sharon's going to be here. She is an expert on abstinence education. Also, Joe Feick is going to be back with us and the rest of the His Place team.